How's it going, everybody? It's Milwaukee coming back at you once again. And today we're going to be discussing Detective Comics Scare Tactics by Tony S. Daniel. Let's get into it. It's here where I want to point out and reiterate that as I'm covering the New 52, I'm reading the single issues that are contained in the collections. I'm not reading the collections themselves. This book is a beefy boy. Every issue had a backup story, so we're getting a lot of bang for your buck here, but it seems to be a quantity over quality, if you will, situation. Tony Daniel, he's back to his old tricks. And by his old tricks, I mean he's got a scattered story here. Each story is sort of self-contained. There's like a couple issue story featuring Mr. Toxic, but we got the first issue is a standalone featuring Scarecrow, where Scarecrow has Batman running all over the city of Gotham, playing a game so that Batman can save hostages. Scarecrow makes it sound like there's a little kid, in trouble, but it turns out that the kid is actually the villain, and the villain is Hugo Strange's son. Then we got a backup story in the first volume of Detective Comics, and I was like, what's with this random story? Well, here's the payoff. And not only is this the payoff of that story, but it turns out that this kid, who grew up to be this villain, that's claiming to be Hugo Strange's son, is not even related to Hugo Strange at all, and it was just a big nothing. What are you going to do? Tony Daniel, folks. Then we get issue 9, which is the Night of the Owls crossover that I covered in the Night of the Owls review, which you can check out, or not. Then we're back for the meat of this volume here, where a squad of fake Batmen steals something for a villain named Mr. Toxic. Batman, of course, tracks him down. Mr. Toxic ends up being a clone of this guy who's messing with Hadron Colliders to solve a genetic defect or something, and like the squad of Batmen were all clones, and it's just not the best. Batman just happens to stumble by accident on a cure for this disease that stops the cloning, and he barely wins and he almost dies because you got to have drama in these stories, even though I didn't really feel like the threat was real. So then we get Detective Comics Annual 1 featuring Black Mask, Tony Daniel's favorite villain. And in that story, we get the story of Black Mask versus the Mad Hatter, where Gotham is only big enough for one mind-controlling villain. And of course, it features Jeremiah Arkham, who was Black Mask 2 back in the pre-New 52, but they got wiped out of continuity. But Tony Daniels just can't let it go, so the Mask is controlling like Jeremiah Arkham, and it helps Black Mask escape or whatever. And Black Mask is trying to get his gang back together when he runs afoul of the Mad Hatter, and Batman saves the day. Then we come across here issue 0 that was written by Greg Hurwitz, and it's the best story in the book. Not necessarily because of its content, which is sort of, ho-hum. There's a valuable lesson that, Batman learns here. He's Bruce Wayne. He's off traveling. This is before he comes back to Gotham City and becomes Batman. And like I said, he learns a valuable lesson. Pretty enjoyable stuff. It started out like I didn't know where it was going, but it got there in the end. And I was like, wow, what a great single issue. And like I said, each issue contained, a backup story. And the first handful of issues, it featured Two-Face, and there was a Tony Daniel story, and pretty incoherent. Two-Face is he's all beat up, and he goes to these healers for help. And then we get the backstory. One of the district attorneys, people they're trying to get. Doesn't matter. The story sucks. I don't know if it's collected anywhere. I doubt it is, but it might be. But it sucks. So, and then we get some backup stories by James Tynion IV or Tynion IV. I don't know how to pronounce that last name. The first story is a Joker story where there's a rookie cop who's assigned to watch the evidence locker where the Joker's face is being kept, and Harvey Bullock plays a prank on her. This is ultimately leading into the death of the family, the Volume 3 crossover, right? Then we get another backup story where Bruce Wayne returns to Gotham after the Kane family, Martha Wayne's family, are trying to, claim the Wayne estate for themselves because Bruce is presumed dead, but Bruce just happens to show up at the right time, and that's that. As you might have been able to pick up there, wasn't the biggest fan of this volume. Uh, Tony Salvador Daniel, he's gone. He's back to Tony S. Daniel. And I don't know, man. This is his last volume of Detective Comics. He's not a bad artist. I don't think he's a bad creator or creative. It's just, for whatever reason, he's having trouble sticking these landings. His stories are scattershot. I'm sure that makes sense to him. You could piece them together. But for me, it's not doing anything. It's kind of like he got the rub from working with Grant Morrison, so he tries to do these complex stories, and he's just putting the blocks together incorrectly. I don't know what else to say. Good ideas often, just lacking in the execution, in my opinion, right? But again, I don't know what his obsession with Black Mask is. But he keeps bringing the character back. And each time he does, it gets worse. And that Two-Face backup story, the less said, the better. I read it. It was almost interesting because you got to think of it in the context of the New 52, because the whole story is Harvey Dent is being played. One of the guys for the mayor's office is like, hey, you could be district attorney again, but I'm being blackmailed. I need you to take out these guys. And of course, Two-Face, he's intrigued by this, so he takes the bait, but it ends up being a double cross. And then he goes to these healers, and the healers are supposed to kill him, but the healers, they don't want to get involved, and it's just a bunch of nothing. The Joker backup story by James Tynion IV. Pretty interesting. Again, sets up what's going to come next. And of course, the Zero issue being taking place before the New 52. Pretty fun story. Great standout one shot, but it doesn't make this volume worth purchasing. So all that being said, I'm going to go ahead and give Detective Comics Volume 2, Scare Tactics, a 2 out of 5. Tony Daniel's gone after this. Hopefully it picks up and gets better. Until next time, I'll see you there.